I have been wanting to get you on this podcast for a very long time, especially after you, myself, and the Green Eye Bandits
Really, baby.
we had a good old slumber party in Miami where I got a chance to meet the legend Charrisse, honey, and it was a good old girl talk, don't you think?
Yes, and I was fanning out over you. I think the three of us were. I think we were totally fanned out.
That is so sweet. No, I was fanning on myself, and after that meeting, I was like, I gotta get Charrisse on the show. So look, you are one of the OGs.
Mhm.
A lot of people like to say the initial OG stands for the original Grand Dame.
Oh my
Would
God.
that be the case?
You know that Grand Dame thing is a self-appointed title, okay? We'll just go with original gangsta or something like that. I mean, after all, this is Potomac, okay? Potomac, the real Grand Dames own hotels and planes and all kind of things. So yeah, no, that's a no. That's a no.
Well, let's get into it. So, you were the original cast member of The Real Housewives of Potomac, and rumor has it, or should I say, word on the street in my Giselle voice, word on the street is that you kind of like cast the show because these are like your friends. Is that true, Charrisse?
That's absolutely true. So initially, you probably know Adrienne Wells, who was the casting director for Potomac. Adrienne called me. I thought it was a joke. And I'm playing along because I thought he was Andre, who was his brother, because they sound just alike. Ends up, he's really a person. When we were on Zoom, I'm like, oh my God, you're really Adrienne. So, we tried to cast Potomac. You would have thought I had a job because I was having interviews in Starbucks and doing a thing. I had fun with it. Wasn't getting paid, nothing. But I just took the title of, gave myself a title like these other people doing Potomac. Gave myself a title as casting person. And it was hard at first because in Potomac, it's a very conservative place. I couldn't get anybody to do it. And the ones that wanted to do it, their husbands wouldn't allow them to do it. And like I said, this place is, sometimes I'm like, how do I live here? Because the people who live here are loaded. I mean, the pockets are super deep. So their husbands aren't letting them do a reality show. So I asked, could I go outside of Potomac? And Adrienne said, sure. So the first person I called was Giselle, Robin, and then the list goes on. Now, Karen got on by default, actually. Someone thought she was a friend of mine because she was sitting at my table at a gala, and they thought she was my friend and recommended her. So Adrienne kept telling me about my friend Karen. I was like, I don't know anybody named Karen Huger. And he was like, Charrisse, you're friends. And I'm like, no, we're not. But then eventually, I met her. I'm like, she's cool, and that's how it all happened.
So you were like Mariah Carey. So you didn't know her.
No,
And by her, meaning Karen Huger.
correct. She and
And
Giselle knew each other.
she and Giselle knew each other. So because your pockets run deep, you are amongst the wealthy elite in Potomac, DC, Maryland, Baltimore, all of the DMV, honey.
I didn't say my
Charrisse,
pockets were deep. I said the pockets in Potomac are deep. I'm hearing a wing and a prayer.
you could be humble if you want to, honey. I'll Google that net worth. Anyway, so so there was a charity event. You obviously paid for a table.
Correct.
Karen was a plus one for someone else at your table, so she didn't pay for it herself. Is that the case?
Well, she bought a ticket for another table. She was trying to sit at my table. She just didn't know how it worked. A friend of mine recommended her and said, Charrisse gets a table every year. You should go to this event. So she started calling, trying to sit at my table. And then all this stuff came, when the show came about, it all came back to me like, oh yeah, that was the woman who was trying to sit at my table. But I didn't know her. But she did sit at my table. And some other things too, but yeah.
So
But that year I had more than one table. So she was at a table of mine, I should say, I actually wasn't physically sitting there. That's why I didn't know who she was. I didn't see her sitting there.
I love you, Cherie. You're so messy. So let's get into the fact that the show comes out on Bravo.
Mhm,
It's the second Black installment of the Real
mhm,
Housewives franchise. You came on. You were fun, beautiful, deep pockets, married, kids, the whole nines. And similar to Nene Leakes, who has also said that, she brought on Kim Zolciak, Sheree Whitfield. She kind of helped the producers cast the Real Housewives of Atlanta. But
mhm.
she was on that show for over 10
Oh
seasons.
yeah.
You weren't on that show very long, and
No.
you were the first OG to get fired. Did you feel some kind of way that a show you helped cast, you were the first OG to get fired?
Well, no, no, I'm just answering your question. No, I didn't feel any kind of way. I personally feel that when I did the show, understand, let me just go back to the casting part. Right before all this happened, I had lost like 3 siblings in 2 years. And so emotionally, like it was an escape for me to help Adrian with this project. So it's like, I'm just trying to, just keep my mind busy. And so when I had no desire to be on the show. I just wanted to help cast it. And so there was this one spot, and they kept saying, Charrisse, you're the glue. And I'm like, I don't know, because I knew my then husband wouldn't want to be a part of it. My marriage was going through something, and it just was, the timing was horrible. And so then I'll be very honest with you, Carlos. I wasn't going through a divorce when they said I was going through a divorce. What was said to me from my husband when I brought this thing up that they're interested in me being on the show, he said, "Well, if you do that, then we'll probably get a divorce." And I was like, "Oh, really?" I
Oh,
didn't.
wow.
For me, when you say to me, "We'll probably get a divorce," means your head is already somewhere else. So now I went into a whole different kind of spiral. And honestly, I did the show because I gave up my career. I had given up everything. And I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do now? So I said, okay, I'm gonna do the show. You know, and I thought it was gonna be fun. And I knew nothing about reality TV. I came here, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And all of a sudden, I'm getting a divorce. I'm sleeping with a fireman. I'm doing all the stuff. Meanwhile, I ended up I started at some point I was going through a divorce. Probably the second season I want to say was when it was official that I was getting a divorce. And then my kids were also going through a divorce. So I'm like, my son was having a hard time. So it was like so much stuff that you don't see. And I was like, now I could look back at it. I was like depressed and I didn't know. So it was, I used to cry all the freaking time on that show. I was just like crying all the time. We could be eating crabs and I'm crying. I'm like, oh my God. It was just, I just was not, I was broken when I did that show. So season four, season three, I became a friend, which was like, okay, good. The focus ain't on me. I could deal with my stuff, but my stuff wasn't moving in TV time. That was a problem. Like, when you do this stuff, you gotta get a divorce. You gotta get, everything is like quick, quick, quick. We want to see you dating, Charrisse. I didn't want to date. Like I'm trying to heal. I really didn't want a divorce. So I was just going through all this pain and all this stuff. So it was good for me not to come back because I was checked out, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense because what a lot of people don't know is when you do reality television going through divorce, it's a very tough time. I experienced that with Nene Leakes,
Mhm.
divorcing the now late Greg Leakes.
Yes.
Love and Marriage Huntsville, dealing with Martell and Melody
Mhm.
going through that. And I
Yes,
know
yes,
you are a huge fan of Love and Marriage
yeah,
Huntsville, so
huge.
thank you. Yes. So I can understand that. And I think it was best for you to just, take some time off, deal
Mhm.
with your real life. And here we are, season 7. And
7.
now you're back, baby.
Yeah, which was
What
shocking.
made you want to go back into this world of reality, knowing that this show now is really about a bunch of women who will throw you under the bus every chance they get?
Oh my God. It was so weird for me at first because it wasn't like I was trying to get back on the show. At first, I got a text from Lorraine, and Lorraine was like, "We want to see you back season 7." And I'm like, "Well, let's talk." But I really wasn't thinking it was that serious. And then I didn't hear anything. So I said, "Well, maybe they changed their mind." And obviously, I'm still friends with everyone except one. I'm really cool with everyone except one. So, you know, I know that Lorraine had talked to the different cast members, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, of course." Probably, maybe not one, but of course, we would love to have Charrisse back. And so, at the weird part was, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to come back at first, honestly, because I was like at this peaceful place in my life, and I was like, this stuff is crazy, So you got to deal with like yesterday, I'm a liar. You know what I'm saying? You got to deal with all this other crazy stuff that comes along with it, So I wasn't really sure, but then I said, Lorraine was very good with saying, you know what, Charrisse, however you want to do it, you can come back as much as you want or not want. You don't, we're not going to force this on you, So it was like, for me, let me come back and have fun. That's what I thought. I want to be the fun girl. Like, you can't give yourself titles on this show. I want to be the fun girl. We're just going to have a good time. Yeah, no. Don't work like that.
It show ain't working like that, because what we're seeing now is the fact that there's a lot of accusations going on. I had Giselle Bryant on this podcast, and it appears that you know some things about Karen Huger. You allege a couple of seasons ago that she was allegedly seeing another man who has blue eyes.
Mhm.
And we are now seeing that this season, Karen is running away from you as if your name is coronavirus.
Right.
She refuses to be around you. And when I asked Giselle Bryant whether or not you've had some tea on it, she said, "It's not my place to spill the tea, but but let it be known the tea is spilled and I'm going to talk about it." Do you know things about Karen's marriage where she has allegedly been unfaithful?
Um, you know, in the streets of Potomac, it was something that was being said. And this is before the show even started. It was a lot about this older black woman in Potomac, which I didn't know, who I didn't know, but that's how she was always referred, as the old black lady. And so I would hear all these things about the old black lady, and then all of a sudden the old black lady becomes Karen Huger. So I'm like, oh, now I know the old black lady. So all these different things I've been knowing and hearing for years, it's like, oh, put it all together. Now I know it. I see certain things that all make sense. So I'm like, oh, okay. Now I know you. Nice to meet you.
What were you hearing about this quote unquote old black lady in the streets of Potomac? What were you hearing?
Like, here, and Carlos, I really don't talk about people, but this woman has said so much about me, for some reason unbeknownst to me, because I really would never put her shit out on Front Street or say anything about her. If I wanted to say this stuff, I could have said it for season 1, season 2. It's just not my MO to put people's stuff out there, but now I don't give a fuck. So I'm sorry, that's a bad word. I'm trying not to use words like that.
It's okay. This is an explicit podcast. Say what you want. We got the E rating, honey.
But like saying the local establishment here, this restaurant, popular restaurant, is the Village. And so this black lady used to get drunk and fall off the bar stools. And, this was going on for years, And so that's the real reputation that she has in Potomac, as the old drunk black lady that falls off of the bar stools. She'll freaking run around after these young little boys and all this stuff. That's her real reputation. Like, seriously. But I can't tell all of her business, but yeah.
So when you said, well, listen, I believe it was season 2 or 3 reunion. You look gorgeous, by the way. You had the bob and the bangs, and I just loved your look, my love. You brought up this blue-eyed
I did.
man.
She called me out. She also called me a harlot. And that's why I said that.
Is there any truth that while you were married, you were also having an affair?
No, no. She wants to say that. I mean, she wants to make these things about me. People talk about me. I'm not going to act like my life is perfect. It's like, oh, she's like someone said I was messing with somebody that's in politics in Jersey. I don't even know any political people in Jersey. One person they said was actually my first boyfriend in life. So it's like, if people want to say, oh, she's doing this, my husband was doing this and that. Yeah, he probably was. Specific people, do I know about these people? No. But people like to make speculations and say things. But where are the facts?
When we look at the rest of the season, are we going to see you and Karen have this conversation about things you've heard? Because in the teaser for the season, we
Mhm.
did see Karen get up out of her seat and point her fingers in your face and, said
It was
things like, "You're not going to fuck with
yes,
me and my husband." And on Karen's YouTube, um, channel, she said a few weeks ago that, and I quote, "I don't fuck with her because I don't fuck with her."
but she doesn't have a reason to dislike me. And that's the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, Charrisse, if you're calling her the old black lady who slept around with young boys and
this is
getting
my
drunk.
Carlos. This is my first time ever saying that. Ever. I've never even said this before.
Oh.
You've heard it first, right here on Carlos King. I've never said that in my life. But this woman has made it her life to talk about me now. And it's always been baffling because my whole thing was just trying to figure out, what did I do to you, sis? Like, what did I do? And
So
she
where
never.
does it come from? Where does it come from? Because I mean, you make a good point. Because at the end of the day, we know that Karen and Giselle read each other for sport, right?
Mhm.
And we know the history of what that is like. And plus, I even said to the both of them, I think they just have fun doing it because it's funny and they
Right,
know that the audience loves it.
right.
But you and the Grand Dame seem to really have this relationship that breeds in angst. And it may not come from both sides, it may come from one side, but
It's one side.
where does it well, we got to watch the rest of the season for me to pick. But where does it stem from? Does it stem from the fact that she called you a harlot? You allege she had this blue-eyed boyfriend, that she was cheating on the Black Bill Gates? Like, where does it come from?
I honestly don't know where it comes from with her. I've never had an issue with her. I know she says something about I um said something about her mom or something, which I never did. I just said something like, "You haven't been a good friend." It was season 5, and I went to an event that Candace had, and I said to her, you haven't been a very good friend. And her thing is, she took offense to it because I was well, what I meant was that I think I said to her, I was around for her. We both have older parents, and so had older parents, and so we were going through the same stages of life with our parents, and dementia, or different things, and so I thought she and I were kind of bonding in different ways because there's a lot of similarities between us. Like, they thought she and I would be good friends because we're like 2 years apart. I know it's hard to tell, but it's like we're 2 years apart, and so we have so much in common. And so when her family was going through their thing, if Karen calls me, if she would call me and would be emotional, I would drop what I was doing and run to make sure she's good. I was always trying to be a support friend because that's one thing I do very well is be a friend. She, on the other hand, she's not good at that. She's not a girl. She doesn't have girlfriends that she hangs out with. Like, when I get off the call with you, I'm gonna go meet some girlfriends and we're gonna have dinner and have a kiki it up and everything. She doesn't do stuff like that. She doesn't have that relationship with women. And so, I tried, but for whatever reason, when my situation, like when my dad passed, she didn't offer me the same support. Now, granted, I'm not on the show anymore, but I thought since you're so damn grand, that you would do grand things, send me some flowers, I mean, she sent me a text, sorry for your loss or something, and that was it, and I'm like, wow, this is interesting, so that was my thing. And so she's mad because I'm saying she wasn't there for me, but she wasn't. We weren't. But she's saying we weren't friends. Well, why weren't we friends? I need to understand. What did I do to you that causes you so much resentment towards me? What did I do? Absolutely nothing.
What did you do at that dinner table where we saw in the teaser her get up and point her fingers in your face? What happened that day?
I mean, of course I can't get into total detail about what happened, but she was constantly lying, making these lies, accusations about me. One thing, because I'm just asking you a simple question: what did I do to you? And everything that she's coming back with was, first of all, stuff that had nothing to do with her. Just shit. And then it got to a point, like when someone's constantly attacking your character with lies, with no receipts, no nothing, just saying shit, I got pissed off, And one thing I do regret is that I allowed her to trigger me. I learned that I could be triggered. I know. I thought I was Peace Charrisse, but yeah, not that day. But not that day. But it was this, I don't even remember, Carlos. I don't even remember most of it.
You blacked out?
I basically, because I don't remember. Like Mia was telling me stuff the next day, and Giselle was saying stuff. Like everybody, it was so weird because like the next day, Giselle was numb, like still stuck from the night before. It was crazy.
Does it get as bad as
No. Hell no, I ain't gonna get that bad. Ain't nobody put no hands on nobody now.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna say Candace and Monique because I know y'all two don't get down like that. Does it get as bad as Giselle and Karen with the hot box and the scene, or is it worse than that?
It's horrible. I feel bad about it. I really, honestly, I do.
And that's why she doesn't fuck with you.
Fuck with me. I'm unfuckable though, so I don't give a damn.
Now I get it, girl. So speaking of lying,
but I came back with truths. That's why she don't fuck with me.
Oh,
just say that.
Stay tuned. Okay, so speaking of lying, there was a recent episode where the housewives of Potomac were at this winery.
Yes.
And Robin and Wendy had it out. And Wendy said that, girl, you got so, I'm paraphrasing, but that Robin got so aggressive that it took Charrisse to kind of hold her back and put her hands on Robin to hold her back. Robin denied it. She FaceTimed your pretty ass. You said, no, I never did it. The shady editors rewound the tape, showed that you did push Robin back.
I didn't push her. I touched her. I was like, sit down. First of all, we had security there. We had security. So it wasn't an environment where Robin was about to attack her. Wendy said, stand in your truth, stand in your truth. And Robin stood up and said, I'm standing in my truth. That's why she stood up. It wasn't like she stood up because she was going to be aggressive towards her. She stood up because Wendy told her to stand up. Wendy also told her to sit down. She sat down. So it was not an aggressive situation. I'm the only one that got up. And I'm going to be very honest. When she got up, I'm from New Jersey, Carlos. So in New Jersey, it's just a natural instinct that when somebody gets up, you think something's going to happen. Okay. I will be very honest about that part. So I got up and I said, sit down, like that. And when she asked me the question and I said no, I also said a whole lot of other stuff because the thing was, after a while, I'm standing there and I'm like, why am I standing here? Because I felt stupid because I'm standing there, but they're going back and forth and I'm in the middle, like, and in my head, I'm thinking, how do I sit back down? But it wasn't a threatening situation. I didn't hold her back. She wasn't going to fight her. It was just, they were yelling and arguing. And I just, our theme was supposed to be about women's empowerment, believe it or not. We're supposed to be empowering each other. That was supposed to be like an empowering trip. So
Who's we?
right.
There's
Where's
a lot of things. There's a lot of things to say about the Real Housewives of Potomac. I don't think empowerment comes to mind, Charrisse.
It's not, but we're trying to get there. So it was simple. I just wanted her to sit down. Let's talk civilized to one another. That's what I was doing. Now, honestly, I don't even remember putting my hands up to tell her to sit back. So when she asked a question, honestly, I don't even remember doing that. I just remember standing in the middle to keep them from getting close to each other. That's my whole point. And I wanted to diffuse the situation, chill, let's talk. Since I've been, like, when I came back, I'm going to be honest with you. It seemed like most of them didn't like Wendy. Okay. And I'm going around trying to make people like her. Like, I think she's an amazing woman. I mean, she brings a lot to the show. I was very Team Wendy when she came in with all the degrees that she has. First African in the Housewives franchise, so I'm proud of all of that stuff. We got a huge following in the African community. So I'm super proud of Wendy. The only thing with Wendy, honestly, and I actually told her this myself when she asked my opinion, I told her I wanted her to be I was hoping she would be the person who, like, didn't have to get all this all the time, that she would just say shit that we would have to Google, because she's that bad bitch. That's what I want her to be. I don't know if Michael Dyson,
Eric Dyson, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, like him, I could be in a conversation with Michael and he don't know. I'll be writing stuff down in my notes because I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. And I got to Google it. That's where the concept I'm getting with Wendy. Like, you should be able to cut women up with your words, take them back to school where they don't even know what the hell you're talking about. That's what I was hoping. And it just ends up like they're always fighting. And then her and Robin kept fighting. And actually, Robin really liked Wendy at one point, like really liked her. And I wasn't even on the show. Robin used to talk to me about Wendy. This is how I know she really liked her as a person, So and I had a conversation with Wendy and I'm like saying, y'all need to just listen. No one's listening. Everyone's yelling. Nobody's listening. But they're both two amazing women. I hope they work it out. Good luck with that. I don't know if it'll happen, but stay tuned.
Stay tuned. It is. Wendy was on my podcast and a lot of people, myself included at one point, and she, of course, defended herself and it made me realize, okay, I now see Wendy's point of view. But a lot of people felt that Wendy has changed. And to what you're saying, they wanted her to rise above what the other women were providing, which was, a read and things of that nature. And they feel like they don't know who Wendy is. Right. You actually are with these ladies on a day-to-day basis. So you see more of their side than we do. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like we are getting the authentic Wendy?
You know what? To be honest with you, I learned something about her after listening to her on your show. Like, her living in the shadow of her mom and trying to be that typical African, because how Africans are. Like, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be an engineer, you're going to be a lawyer. They already know, so just, her trying to live her life to please her mother. And finally she's stepping out being who she want to be. So for me, honestly, thank you, Carlos, because I learned something about her that I didn't know, but I understand it, and I think that that's where, when I say the communication with the ladies come in, communicate about that. Like, let's talk, let's be real, let's be authentic, let's be our authentic selves. I think sometimes the cameras get in the way, honestly. It's an amazing cast. Every single one of them, even the one that doesn't like me, is amazing and has a rightful place on the show. They've done a great job. I'm so proud. I did a good job picking most of them. I should be a producer or something on another show. But everyone has their role. I think each of them are phenomenal in their own way. When I left the show, I think, like I told you, I didn't know anything about reality TV. And I think when I left, I was probably, if you put it in a grade school type of situation, I was like in 5th grade when I left. And when I came back, these bitches are in college. And I'm like, what the hell? It's amazing. Everyone's amazing. And they know their craft and they're doing a great job. And I'm proud to just witness the growth of all of them.
No, it's a great show. It's my favorite Housewives, that in Beverly Hills. And of course, Atlanta will always be my baby. Yes, of course. So with that being said, though, would you ever consider going back to Potomac as a full-time housewife?
I mean, first of all, like I just said, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. If I had to pick somebody to leave off of that show, I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to pick someone to leave. So I think in order for me to come, somebody would have to go. I don't think they want 8 housewives, but I really, it's a good situation. Like if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
I mean, I love the idea of being a housewife again. I'll say that, but honestly, I'll be very honest. When I was on, I felt so far behind the 8 ball, and it took me a while to catch up to it. And I'm still like, now I think I'm in high school and they're about to graduate college. I'm trying to catch up.
Well, we'll see how the rest of the season pans out with your appearance. And listen, before I let you go, because you are an OG, you also cast the show. If you had to cast season 8 of the Real Housewives of Potomac, who would you like to be a part of the cast? Old housewives and current housewives.
Old housewives and current. I think that
who's your top 5? It has to be 5 Potomac housewives to be on season 8.
Okay. Oh wow, that's a hard one, Carlos. I love all of them. I like the OGs. First of all, so I'm gonna go with that first. The OGs, the originals. Just to be safe.
So Charrisse, Giselle, Robin, Karen, Katie, and Ashley.
Yeah, but I love all the new ones. Trust me. I swear to you, I love all of them. But there's another girl, like if I could be a casting director again, oh gosh, what's her name? Oh gosh, her husband plays for the Wizards. She lives right around the corner from me. Starts with a K. What's his name? Bradley Beal's wife. I don't know how to. I can't. Her name is I forgot her name.
It's okay. Honey, if you don't know them, we don't know either child.
That girl. She used to do reality TV. She was good. But Bradley Beal's wife, she's amazing.
Okay.
I don't even know her personally.
I have to Google that one.
Yeah, Google her.
I gotta Google that one. So, Charrisse, what can we expect from you for the rest of the season of Potomac?
Well, the focus isn't. I'm not a housewife, so there's no focus on my personal story or anything like that. I was hoping I was going to be able to host some real events, but we didn't get to do that.
Why don't you invite the girls to Tina Knowles Lawson Wearable Art Gala?
I thought about it. Maybe next year. next
How
year.
much does it cost to go?
The lowest ticket is like 35.
$1,000?
No, 100. The ticket.
3,500.
Yeah.
And how
Mm-hmm.
much was your ticket?
3,500.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was at a $50,000 table.
You got your Karen on. I'm teasing.
No,
Well,
that's a great event. I'm gonna get a table next year.
ooh.
Yes.
Here we go, season 8. All right, Charrisse. Well, where can the Reality with the King listeners, my raindrops, follow you, support you, and all that good stuff?
All right. I suck at social media, and I'm promising to get better this year. But the number one, Charrisse, CharRisse, is my Gmail. I mean, my Gmail is my Instagram, and then I'm Charrisse Jackson Jordan on Twitter. And I'm going to be doing a podcast coming soon.
Congratulations. Welcome to the podcast world.
Yeah. So I'm working on that now.
Well, make sure when you launch it, you come back on here so we can talk about whatever it is that you and the Grand Dame are going through. Because, we got to dig deep with that too, babe.
Oh, yeah. We got to. Well, when you figure it out, you let me know. I'm going to try to figure it out.
Well, thank you, Charrisse. I love you. And I'll see you more every Sunday, 8 o'clock on Bravo, The Real Housewives of Potomac. Thank you.
Thank you.